second map is because I feel like Coastline just didn't play into TBD's strengths.
Well, guess what? The map video's ready and waiting. Let's have a look at where we will be heading. Once again, fingers crossed the theme park. Oh, no. Fnatic have banned it out again. God damn it. Ah, well. Villa.
Villa.
Okay. This will be interesting. Not sure on current form. TBD have played it twice in their last 4 maps outside of the earlier map tonight where they've won it both times. So one of those against Wildcard as well. So, you know, that might be all right. Not sure about Fnatic.
I mean, not a massive map for Fnatic from what I remember, but I think at the end of the day, Fnatic really just exhibited on that first map that they've come prepared on how to counter TBD. They did it perfectly on Coastline. I wouldn't put it past them how to do it on Villa. I would think that TBD would fare well from something like a Nomad ban. I think that will help them facilitate a little bit more on their defense for running around, because Fnatic used that a lot on Coastline to stop the runouts, and it did really squash it.
Yeah, and I get the impression that Fnatic could almost really play any of the maps at the moment, because once they find that weakness in TBD, they're really being able to exploit that. We saw that in the first map. TBD just not really mixing it up at all, really. And once Fnatic started to get 1 round, 2 round, 3 rounds, they were just repeating the same thing over and over. So were TBD. And in the end, it just steamrolled into a 7-0. TBD just having no answer, no response.
Yeah, they really need to pick it up in this next map. They have to be ready to readapt to Fnatic, because they are a team, especially because of their most recent international experience in Six Invitational, they're a team that can adapt many times within a map. They have also played against teams that are good at that as well, which just sharpens those skills. And I think that's where TBD really are lagging behind against Fnatic.
Yeah, well, I guess the question is, how did TBD, as a team, has any team really actually trying to approach that problem of adaptation? Is that something that you should be practicing in scrims? Is that something that maybe only really shows in officials? How do you actually go about sort of taking that more positive and more adaptive mindset into a game?
Yeah, scrims, just practicing changing up what you're doing, in that, like, you might come in with a default attack, for example, and then you see, oh, what they're doing hard counters our attack. Let's rotate. Let's try a different attack. So practicing that in scrims and just having an adaptive mindset and understanding like what counters what, really important to be able to do it in an official.
Well, you guys were right in the first poll, and you're actually very right in terms of how dominant it was. Let's have a look at the community poll for the second matchup. Will Fnatic reign supreme once again? And it is the exact same numbers as last time, I think. Maybe? Or maybe TBD had 5% and it was 4% for the draw. I can't quite remember. But, I mean, in the last matchup, neither of us really expected the actual result to be this dominant. But after the first matchup, I mean, anything's possible, isn't it?
Yeah, I really thought it would be a bit closer. I mean, I think we all expected TBD to get at least 1 round, but hey, that didn't happen. Let's see if it happens on map 2, but this is pretty fair assessment of the current situation, just considering how slaughtered TBD got in that first map.
Yeah, and we touched upon this on the first match. It's hard to believe that these are actually the first and second teams in ANZ. So they're actually neck and neck on points heading into this. But Fnatic, they just look like they're in a whole nother league at the moment, don't they?
They do. They look comfortable. The roster change, bringing Aces in, losing Virtue, does not seem to have had much of an effect. So, sorry guys, looks like they're still pretty good.
Aces is here to stay, potentially. I mean, again, something else we touched on was, is Fnatic maybe going to switch up their roster in the future? Who knows? What we do know is, though, we're jumping into the map. It's Villa. Fnatic taking on TBD. TBD still searching for the very first round tonight. Can they do it here in the beautiful Villa of Villa? I didn't know what else to say. What is Villa? Is it just a villa? I didn't know what to say.
It's a villa. Yeah, Villa in Italy. I think in Tuscany. I can't quite remember the law.
I think it is. I think it is, yeah. I should learn more of the law, to be honest. Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
It's hard to remember. I was going to say TBD, I think they need to ban Nomad or Gridlock or something to help them with flank. They're not actually, though. They're going to ban Buck to deny some vertical play. That is definitely something that Fnatic were doing effectively on Coastline. And I mean, Buck was banned on that. So I'm not too sure whether that is maybe the play here. Something that Fnatic have already adapted to is the loss of Buck. It means that TBD are still going to have difficulties on the roam clear, unless Fnatic ban it, of course. But I wouldn't think they'd do that to themselves, and they're not. They're just going to ban the Thatcher. I think teams are pretty comfortable dealing with Thatcher bans these days. So far, that attacking phase of the bans, I think, favors Fnatic.
Fnatic will ban out Valkyrie as well. Nothing too extraordinary coming out so far in this phase on Villa. TBD will round it out with the final defensive ban. Let's see what it is, and it's going to be Mirror. So yeah, nothing too crazy coming out so far in this matchup. Fnatic, of course, are starting on the attack. Villa tending to be defender-sided, but there's been time and time again, particularly within ANZ, where it's actually been attacker-sided. So keep an eye on that. Fnatic definitely not without a chance of maybe even taking another flawless half. If they play like they did it on Coastline, I definitely wouldn't rule that out.
We're going to come down to how they control the flanks and the mid to late round play from TBD, because again, that's really how they get their openings, how they get into it. Epsi.style fragging out on the roam as the Jaeger, really common. I'm surprised if Fnatic don't bring like a Nomad or something better to watch flank. Maybe they are just going to dedicate text to that with the way they were doing it with the drone. Potentially that's all they want. But Villa is a big map with lots of staircases. You can move around a lot more than you can on Coastline.
TBD are sticking the clash on this occasion. It was teased over on Coastline, and I believe it was actually the very first round as well. It's interesting to see how Fnatic are going to deal with that. They do have Mentalist. Onzo for those lifeline stuns can be quite helpful in knocking that shield back. And on top of that, they do have quite a few grenades at their disposal, flashes as well to blind that clash. So definitely no short of any sort of counter utility, I guess you could say, against Mangoes, and he will have to be mindful of that. Try not to over-aggress too much and really just try and be a time burner here for Fnatic.
Yeah, and actually, Mangoes did play it a little bit last week against Wildcard on this map. They managed to win that 7-3, so yeah, that's great for TBD. But that's something that Fnatic have now had a chance to prepare for. They've watched that, seen how it's used, the way TBD play the map in general. So that's something that could really work in favor of Fnatic, given how well they were countering and adapting to TBD on Coastline.
Fnatic getting the ball rolling here, going for a map sweep over towards Astro over on the northern side of the map. Moot Jam has actually been placed out by TBD to try and stall out any sort of intel gathering. It looks like Fnatic have the confidence to push up, and they're going to basically be uncontested until they get in towards 90, where Mangoes is playing the clash.
Interesting to see what Epsi.style or TBD do with these early contests, because that is something I was a little critical of on Coastline, where they normally would be having, you know, those early contests. Just wasn't happening or being shut down. Seeing him go down red stairs here, so maybe looking for the late flank or just to play a safe position in that hallway. Either Fnatic look to be ignoring it at this stage. They're clearing across from Master, looking to maybe take the 90 position, just take that hallway control.
Ping does go out and Fnatic go hunting. Default coming will be finally taken out, but the C4 from below, it gets two in fact. That's a great start there for Joker and his team. Tex does get one back. Epsi.style off the board, a big impact kill for them. It's now a 3-on-4, of course. Tex doing the classic Ashe crouch walk. Big power move from him. There's no one down there though, so we'll have to be mindful he doesn't get too far away from the rest of his team, who appear to be rotating around potentially. I'm not quite sure what the play is here for Fnatic at the moment.
Joker playing comfortably behind a shield on top of main stairs as well. So taking study is going to be quite tricky. Aces is there by himself. Could be hard. If the ADSs are clear though, he has a grenade. So he could clear that shield out himself. That's good. The Clash is going to aggress down 90 here, and two players are there ready to deal with it. But the best counter being Mentalist off the board. So this Clash is going to be a bit of a pain for them to deal with. And, you know, they're not going to be able to easily progress down this hallway.
Tex baiting out the Ashe charge there, the flash grenade to follow as well, trying to just stall out this clash, but Mango's playing it perfectly so far, and Fnatic having no answer, now forced to rotate over towards the top of red. Meanwhile, Aces gets a kill with the nades. Nades are relatively new addition to Maverick's arsenal. Aces using them to full effect. Fnatic struggling to really clear this utility at the moment, as Aces will finally begin to Maverick open the wall. Mangoes is made aware of that though, and will come to contest that. 15 seconds left on the board, and Fnatic really struggling to get any sort of momentum in towards the site. They're going to be forced to refrag it out. Tex is the first to enter. He has the diffuser and he's going to go for a default plant. Lusty is there to cover Aces as well, but there we go. He gets taken out. The diffuser is dropped with the C4, and Mangoes will even things out. Not even things out, clean things up at the very end of that round. Does he 360 him? 180, 360. Oh, yes.
Woof.
Mangoes. Rightio.
On the button.
Take that, aces.
Yeah, good round from TBD. In the end, the double C4, I think, is really what opened it up. Well, it did open it up for TBD, but I'd say that really saved them the round because Magnet had quite a big impact on Coastline. Even Mentalist, confident pushes from them, pretty instrumental in their attacks. So losing them mid-rounds to that C4, big impact for Fnatic. They did want to bring it back to be a 3 versus 3, but just given the site positions for Aviator Games and the utility available to TBD, it just made it too hard for Fnatic to really, progress deeper.
Mango's happy with how he burnt so much time that last round and hit a nice little kill at the end. Will stick Clash once again. I love seeing Clash being played. Such a difficult operator to deal with. Sorry, go ahead. Such a difficult operator to deal with if you play it well, yeah.
I was going to say, yeah, she's difficult, and I like good Clash play because it creates this really tricky obstacle to deal with. I mean, like, you can deal with it simply if you've got all the utility available, but it's once you lose that utility. So, for example, Fnatic lost Mentalist. Zophia's the easiest counter for Clash because you can just stun her, shield off to the side. Usually you have somebody else to coordinate with you to clear it out, and it's not too difficult. But when you don't have that, Clash is tricky because you can't really bridge the gap between you guys. You can try to keep progressing, but you're walking into more and more danger to be peaked by somebody else. And the whole time you're getting zapped, losing HP. It's really frustrating. That's the other thing. It can really mess with your mentality.
Yeah, I feel like it can be quite challenging when you're face to face with a Clash to not get too overwhelmed and like start yelling at your teammates to clear the Clash, or get too, as you mentioned, frustrated that you are being like slowed down, you're being damaged, and time is being wasted. So Fnatic likely expecting, I think, Clash to be brought out again. Will hopefully be able to bring the tools to the table to clear that player out. Tex, interestingly enough, with the diffuser in hand, entry fragging on Ashe at the moment. It looks like Fnatic are once again going to go for this map clear.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser.
They are, and they're going to contest soon. Looks like Jack Daddy and Tex look like they were about to contest, but no, that shield being cleared out by Tex. These holes working to a big advantage for Jack Dad. It's going to make it tricky for Tex to push down around that corner without seeing Jack Dad. So I like this positioning from TBD. It is stalling out Fnatic a little bit, given that they were already taking their time on these clears in general.
And here we go, once again, Mango's face to face with Mentalist. C4's coming out left, right, and center already. Epsi.style with the first pick, though. The double pick from behind the bar as well could net another kill. Not quite yet, as there are two members of Fnatic over on that side of map. 4, in fact. There's 2 additional over towards Study. Joker's still holding this angle. He is 1 shot's worth of HP. A quick pre-fire will definitely take him out, and he looks away right at the wrong second. Tex cleans that one up, and now it's a 4-on-4.
Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
Yeah, but still playing aggressively around that position. So Fnatic are really bleeding trying to clear this. They're going to have to decide to just aggress and take it, or they're going to have to rotate away while they've still got some utility. Tex does find another one to Epsi.style, though. So Tex bringing Fnatic back into this, and they are flushing out Jack Dad, taken down. So nicely played. Tex on the triple, hunting the ace. He's going to have to deal with a Clash at least. Cutie, the last one with a competent or proficient weapon on TBD, and still 50 seconds, so it's actually not too bad on time.
If Cutie can maybe get a pick or two here, even drop the diffuser, definitely a chance to win this round. Tex, he's on fire though in this round with 3 so far. As I mentioned, 2 more and he gets the ace. He's going to go for this first peek on towards Stat, aware that a player is to his right potentially, but he peeks away at the wrong time and he's made to pay the price. Now it's a 2-on-2. Mangoes will eventually probably have to take the shield off, otherwise he will be quite vulnerable. Oof, Cutie almost taken out there in towards Dia. He will be safe though, as he now heads towards the rotate hole. Mango's there to try and cover. They're trying to team up here, but it's just not working. The Clash is taken off the board. Cutie's pre-fire missing the mark as well, and now Lusty and Aces need to work hand in hand to try and bring this round back. But now it's a 1-on-1 as Aces gets dropped, and Lusty needs to try and get the kill. Cutie just left staring at the wall, unfortunately, and Lusty will get that one. That's the second round going in favor of Fnatic.
Yeah, just out-juked at the end there, but TBD, that was a good-looking round for a while. That roam clear not working out for Fnatic for a long time. Tex getting the opening they needed, and if Tex just hadn't been able to pop off in that round, it really was looking all TBD. So great job from him. Individual effort brought his team back into that, and a nice clutch from Lusty. Even out the scores now, guys. 1-1. And look, TBD are going to repeat that because it went pretty well.
And they're also going to repeat Clash as well so far. Oh, okay. That's interesting, though. Tex will 6-pick onto Kali. Is this the first time we're going to see Kali in ANZ PL?
Yeah, pretty sure it
Attackers need
is.
to locate and defuse.
Quite
yeah.
confident it is, actually. I don't remember casting it last week, so... Yeah, this is going to be interesting. And to have Tex on it, I find interesting as well, because like he was the key in that last round, based on some aggressive push as an Ashe player. But now he's playing Kali, not really the kind of operator you would play super aggressive, not a frontline operator. Maybe he just feels really confident on the C7Z or whatever it's called, that little handgun that sometimes people struggle with, those iron sights. I don't know. Maybe they're just completely changing this push up and they're not going to even bother with study.
Maybe.
10 seconds
I'm just
left.
trying to think of, like, if Tex plays a traditional Kali, what sort of long angles is he going to be trying to play? I mean, on top of that, Kali does bring utility to the board as well. That can often be overlooked. Some sort of Thatcher alternative in sorts, and can also clear utilities such as the Goyo shields that TBD are bringing to the board. So look, definitely an interesting decision from Fnatic. Interested to see how this one plays out. This is if Tex might well be entry fragging once again, so this could be very, very interesting.
Yes, and it's going to be the telling point whether this is a great decision from Fnatic or not. Wait to see. Similar positions coming out of TBD here. Jack Daddy playing that Billiards, Joker playing Aviator. Tex moving in pretty quickly here, which I like. Putting the pressure on nice and early. Very strange with the Kali though. Playing this close quarters, he's going to have to pull out some nutty quick scoping. Otherwise, I don't know, man. This feels a bit strange.
This is giving me flashbacks to Southeast Asian Pro League a couple of seasons back where they would entry frag on Glaz. This is feeling quite similar. Oh my goodness, what a play there from Tex rather, dropping the shield down. Jack Daddy losing quite a bit of health from that. And there we go, that's just Kali showing how adaptive she can be in these scenarios. I'm interested to see what a gadget does against the Clash shield. Does that actually have any sort of impact? Oh, it knocks it back when
Knocks it away.
she shoots. I knew that. I'm not sure about the gadget though. I don't think it disables it.
No, I'm pretty sure it doesn't. But either way, that's worked out pretty well, right? They've just gotten 2 picks. So it's a 3 versus 3, pretty similar situation to last time. But they're giving themselves a little bit more time. So maybe the Kali was the play. It worked out to clear the shield and push Clash back a bit quicker. She definitely couldn't contest as heavy. So yeah, nice job from Fnatic. Finally seen some Kali play. Not huge effect, but it seems like it did its job.
We are now heading into the later stages of this round. Mango's on the Clash, still alive and could cause a lot of issues for Fnatic, who have droned him out. I believe Magnet there from landing has done so. So they are aware as to where Mango's is playing. Looks like a rotate could potentially come out from Fnatic. Mentalist is now maybe heading to the bottom of red. Peaks the angle, afraid a player could be there. Instead, now going back up. It's an interesting play from him. As I think Fnatic are now trying to take their time, consolidate their push, and work out exactly what they want to do.
I think they're also just being cautious again of that late flank, which we've seen a lot from TBD, Epsi.style in particular. He is still a player on the board that they haven't really contested yet on this round. So they're just being cautious. They're very split now. Magnet is going to be going Master Bedroom by himself, while Aces and Mentalist are on the other side to counter push. It's going to be a 1v1 gunfight pretty soon around Bathroom, I'd say, and that could be the deal breaker.
Magnet electing not to quite go for that gunfight yet, but will smack down the barricade and begin to get aggressive alongside Aces, who gets the kill onto Cutie. Keep an eye on Epsi.style though, he could go for the flank, but now he needs to hit a 3k. He can't even do that. Magnet eventually shuts him down, and Fnatic will take the round.
They will. Magnet seemed very aware, whether a drone call or hearing some footsteps. Nice little 180 from him to get Epsi.style. A great attack from Fnatic in the end. The Kali seems like it had the effect it wanted. They had 3 players remaining for their side execute, and at that stage on, it was flawless. They had 3 players remaining at the end. So I like it. Some good adaptation from Fnatic. TBD are now back on the back foot. They're going to go to Aviator Games again.
We're now starting to get in that stage of the match where if TBD failed to adapt, Fnatic will continue to roll this momentum. And based off the operator picks, it's pretty same for TBD. Still bringing that Clash and the Goyo, 2 operators that we don't see all the time. And so far, Fnatic have done a pretty good job in countering both those players. So maybe TBD is going to mix up their playstyle a little bit in terms of where they are going to play. I'm starting to get that impression that TBD are falling into some habits at the moment.
Yeah, something interesting that's a bit of an outfox here. Not on TBD side, actually, because they've tried to 6-pick the mute to the Kaid, which is a change because Jack there did play the mute last time. But wall denial isn't going to be very effective because that's what actually Kali's gadget counters. So that counter is already countered by that Kali pick. So I like that. Again, that's another plus side to Kali that is probably underrated. Definitely the ranked experiences I've had with Kali, 98% of the time people don't really use the gadget.
Very true. It's been a while since I've been on the rank grind. I was playing with Dev the other night. Always an interesting experience playing with Dev the Goat Martyr. I'm not sure we won a game, but you know.
Oh no.
Dev's strat's just not working. Just not good enough. Back to the drawing board for him. Yeah. Poor Dev. I hope he's not watching. He's probably going to be a bit upset that I said that, but oh well. He's resilient.
Speaking of resilient, Fnatic pretty resilient in their adaptation. Epsi.style though is roaming around quite freely here in kitchen. And again, I think this is really going to be the key here. If Fnatic can stay on top of his positioning and the way he plays, that's a big step towards them winning the map or winning the rounds.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser. Attackers have recovered their diffuser.
Epsi.style playing on the Astro stairs currently. A player that is known for going for big, extravagant flanks. Hasn't been massively effective so far in this map. Going 2 and 3. Pretty solid, I guess, but again, not quite hitting those big flanks that we've become accustomed to. Meanwhile, Fnatic are gaining control of the map, and Magnet gets the entry onto Epsi.style. So a nice foreshadow there, and not exactly the start that TBD would have wanted.
All right, and again, it is just Fnatic reading into what TBD's strength is. It's that loose roam style play that gets those openings and catches a lot of teams off guard, but it's not going to work for them. And one thing that worked really well, of course, for TBD last time, and the only round they won, was that big C4 from below. But now that Epsi.style has been fragged out and Magnet has taken that position, that's not really possible. So 90 control, now achieved by them. It's a big step forward to last time.
Magnet crouch walking below as well. I don't think he'll meet any defenders, but could potentially go for a nade. Joker's probably the closest player to him at the moment on the stairs, as Aces throws his own nade in towards Study. Fnatic just taking their time to clear this utility, knowing it will be critical in the late round. Tex as well with the diffuser in hand. He has 90 control currently. Nice long angle for him to hold, and here we go. Magnet has 2 nades in hand. He's going to try and clear out this player on the stairs. Plays it perfectly. Joker's forced to run away. His back turned to Magnet, and he shuts him down. Mangoes will get one, though, onto Aces. So there's no hard breach now on the board for Fnatic.
A nice little bait there from Magnet on the stairs, just using the gun switch sound to bait the turnaround from Mangoes. I really like that. Whether that was intentional or not, it was cool. And now Fnatic are going for a gnarly execute here with 20 seconds to go. Not looking good for TBD on this round.
Cutie effectively the last member left in a 1-on-4. The plant is going down. He actually goes for the revive through all that chaos and gets him up. So it is a 3-on-2. Cutie actually getting a kill there with the Goro shield. That's actually the planter down by the looks of things. And Cutie gets one more. The C4, this could be absolutely massive. If he hits this, they won't have time to reattempt the plant. And he does by the looks of things, or at least Cutie was able to drop him. And there we go. TBD protect the bombs in the dying seconds. And that Goro shield coming up massively for TBD.
Out of absolutely nowhere, man. Fnatic had total control of that round. Just a great clutch from Cutie really at the end there, because Jack Dad was down for most of it. Well played from them to make it 2-2. Not going to say a lucky round because it was well executed by TBD in the end, or Cutie at least at the end there. But look, Fnatic had so much control in that round, it really just did not look at all possible for TBD to bring that back.
Definitely doesn't feel like it, but the scoreboard definitely says it. It's 2 apiece. Currently even. Does feel like Fnatic still do have the edge slightly, but full credit to TBD there. Not going down without a fight, especially after losing the very first map. 0-7 in favor of Fnatic. Quick peek at the scoreboard. We'll show Cutie on top after a massive last round. Nothing too out of the ordinary there, I don't think. If you sold 2 and 4 though, Raven, probably not exactly what TBD would have wanted.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing that we're having to see TBD deal with, is especially against Wildcard last week. He had quite the impact on the scoreboard. There was many rounds where he got a 2K on a jump out or a run out, or just an early round roam where he managed to pick up a couple of kills. And that's just not happening anymore. So they're going to have to, they're trying to adapt to that and how that, shapes their late round. So thankfully they were able to clutch that round out, but by all rights, this definitely could have been a 3-1. That round was very much all in Fnatic's favor.
Talking about Fnatic's favor, we are, of course, in trophy and stat. It's an objective that TBD haven't won yet this evening. Both rounds going in favor of Fnatic. We've seen this roam from TBD be shut down quite quickly in the previous round, so hopefully TBD can slow down Fnatic a little bit more here. Try and make them a little bit more uncomfortable in the later stages of the round.
Yeah, tech sticking this Kali as well, which is it's cool. I like to see a team going all in on this Kali pick. It seems like it's worked out. I mean, he wasn't able to have an impact in the late round last round. I think if Tex was on Ashe, he probably would have been able to frag out because he was missing some shots onto, I'm pretty sure it was Cutie actually in Billiards. Epsi.style has found an opening pick here. Opening kill for him onto Magnet. Some aggressive pushes here though. And TBD are up against the wall here.
Lassie there trying to use the Capitail bolts to full effect, but it doesn't quite work out. And this aggression from Fnatic is completely overwhelming at the moment. Mangoes and Joker left in a 2-on-3. Not an ideal scenario. Mangoes gets his shield knocked back, but Fnatic are unable to capitalize on that first occasion. Looks like they will try and reattempt that same combo, but once again, it will fail. I think it's really a question not of if, but when Fnatic will win this round, unless Joker can come through and try and clear some of these players that are causing issues for Mangoes. It looks like he has come in for the assist now, and if Joker can play this smartly, he might be able to get the kill, but no, Tex on the sniper will just completely shut him down, and now Mangoes needs to put the shield on his back, try and hit 3 clean shots here to try and win this round. They know exactly where this player is, and he will be shut down. Fnatic will take the round, and I must say, Kali is not too bad.
Look, it's working out well for Fnatic. I like the counter use. It put the Clash at bay. Besides that first round on Aviator Games, the Clash hasn't had the massive impact. So it's hard to argue. Like, the Kali is definitely working out for Fnatic here. TBD, their last defense round now. They're going to go dining and kitchen. What changes are they going to make? Mango is so far on the Mozzie, so maybe we will see a round where Clash just isn't a factor.
This is, of course, the first round where we are heading to dining and kitchen. Jack Daddy so far will be the only 6-pick onto Pulse, but Lusty is going to follow that up onto IQ. Very convenient counter there for Fnatic, who should be able to see exactly where Jack Daddy is if he has that sensor up. But no, Lusty will jump onto Nomad. Oh well, Flank Watch can't go astray, and hopefully Fnatic will be aware of that Pulse quite quickly and know that he is on the board. One thing I want to mention is that I'm tracking the win condition for every round, so how a team achieves that win. And from what I've got so far, every single round has just been Fnatic killing the other team or TBD killing them. So from what I've got, there's been no plants so far. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that really just shows how aggressive these teams are playing at the moment and how frag heavy the meta is.
Yeah, and also, I mean, aggression counters aggression. Said it, feel like 100 times on broadcast tonight. TBD, well known for being aggressive. And TBD have just really taken that fight to them. So out-aggressed them in a lot of circumstances. And yeah, I think it's a big sign, like you said. There's been no plants on this map at all. It's been all about the frags. And it's the final round for that. See whether we will get a plant or whether it will just be a frag fest yet again. And I am just keen to see the impact of Kali.
Tech's definitely one to watch in this round. He hit such a nice shot on Joker in that last round to shut him down. I believe that he hit him twice, once to get him down to really low HP and then cleaned him up with the second. Tex almost gets an engagement there with Mangoes early in the round, but I think it was quite there. Meanwhile, Magnet has now made his way in towards Walk-In, using that hammer to full effect, gets an angle in towards Astro, but what?
Oh.
Epsi.style just absolutely deletes him off the face of the planet. What a kill from him. He rotates back down and having a big impact at the start of this round, isn't he?
He found the single pixel of Magnet that was peeking out there, I think.
I think he shot his ear,
Absolute
like his earlobe.
Unbelievable. Oh, well, Magnet won't be happy with that. He was trying to be a little bit careful with his sledging, but maybe he should have waited a little bit more for the drones. just to see if he was in much danger. There's two Fnatic players aggressive here in Pantry, which is now known to the defense. Is Cutie playing hard against that doorway with the shotgun, which will make it a little bit tricky to push past.
It's a 3-on-5. Gunfights ensuing in the basement. A part of the map we don't often see in Villa. Refrag comes out there from Mangoes just a little bit too slowly as Tex gets another kill with that sniper in this half. Absolutely loving it. Feels like a bit of a reset at the moment. Tex and Lusty now left in a 2-on-3 scenario. The diffuser, as mentioned, is in basement, so they will be forced to go below if they want to try and attempt the plant. If not, then maybe we'll try and clear out these players and then finish off Mangoes below. Definitely two competent players here. Wouldn't put it past them to win this one out.
Yeah, they've got a bit of time as well. Just under a minute now. Lusty in particular, a very common clutch player. They have diffuser downstairs in basement, as you said. Mangoes and Epsi.style are camping that. So they will have to contest. Tex choosing the right stairwell to do so, so he gives himself some distance with this gun, which is going to be the biggest handicap at this stage.
Shoots down the first barricade in his way. Epsi.style, though, is very close by. Lusty coming in as well for support. They do know that they need to go for this diffuser, but there's only 20 seconds left on the board. The aggression from Tex will be punished, and that will be the round, surely, for TBD. But Lusty, he's trying to bring this one back. He doesn't have a lot of time to play with. That diffuser obviously still down. He doesn't really have the time to go back to site. TBD, fully aware of that, will rotate up, play passive, wait for him to come through the door, and there it is. TBD will win the round.
Good round from them, and again, the diffuser downstairs ended up being a very tough to recover position for Fnatic. I like that TBD, once they identified that, they just played that real hard, and it worked out well. So nice by them. 3-3, I mean, that definitely still felt like Fnatic had most of the control of the half, but TBD have managed to bring it back to 3-3. So great by them, but they have to deal with attacks now.
Arguably the more challenging half on this map, of course, the attack. Will be interesting to see how they try and deal with the Fnatic defense, who are electing to bring quite a bit of utility potentially. Goryo shields and my magnets being played by Magnet. That's pretty cool. Will be on the board and will have to be dealt with.
Defenders, protect your bombs from being defused by attackers.
That it will, and Aviator Games? No? Yeah, Aviator Games. Oh my god, I was almost lost in the sauce again. Yep, Aviator Games will be the first bomb site here, and interesting to see what Fnatic do to try and deal with the TBD attack, and of course how TBD attack. I would expect them to try and play this more aggressively, because, I mean, we didn't get much of a chance to see how they attacked on Coastline, but we didn't see the usual, again, TBD aggression. Something that really sticks out to me from last week against Wildcard was they were taking map control so quickly, and just if they saw an opening on site, they pushed that. So if Fnatic are ready for that, again, I kind of just feel like TBD are going to get that, you know, hard counter feeling.
Both these teams electing to really spread out their defenses, try and lock down what is essentially two halves of the map. Obviously having limited success as it was a 3-all half, and we could well see that trend continue. Tex, as you can see, playing quite aggressive towards bedroom, but it does look like TBD are going to invest now quite heavily over towards the study side of the map. Mangoes, of course, does have the diffuser in hand, a key player to watch, and it looks like he's going to follow the rest of his teammates over towards this balcony.
Didn't point it out either, but Tex and Magnet, you know, the Wamaya Jaeger combo. See whether that's something that is tough to deal with for the attack. I mean, this is a very different style attack to what we saw Fnatic do, and even different to last week, to be honest. A lot of their attacks last week, this bomb site heavily relied on taking Master Bedroom and 90, you know, the usual attack that you see. But this is very much south-sided, you know, like you said, the study push, trying to take, you know, the Aviator walls, and bar, and work out a push that way. And now they've got the Hibana pellets open into Vault, or towards Vault, it's going to be a little bit difficult for Fnatic to maneuver themselves around.
Starting to approach the halfway point of the round now. A minute 30 to go. Magnet manages to scathe away, not taking any damage from some of the verticality Epsi.style is generating from below, but there could be a gunfight. Mentalist, though, elects to play it a little bit more passively as another member of TBD will come for the peak. Drone comes out and his position has been revealed. Fortunately, that player from Pottery doesn't take the angle, and Mentalist will survive. Plenty of time left in this round, but Tex will get the first kill, and that's a great start for Fnatic.
It is, and a lot of time has been burnt by TBD or by Fnatic, whichever way you want to look at it. Haven't been able to get much map control, and they lost the first pick now. Cutie does finally get it back onto Magnet, so that is the Wamai off the board, but this time burn is really going to come back to bite TBD if they can't take this control of Study and main stairs.
2 quick kills for Fnatic, leaves it in a 4-on-2. Mangoes gets Mentalist, who was looking the wrong way, leaving it in a 3-on-2. It's definitely winnable for TBD, especially if Lusty gets dropped here. He's quite vulnerable inside of Study. The aggression will come out. The C4, though, will follow. Will he get a kill? No, it's shot in midair, but as he peeks up, he will be taken out. Epsi.style really showing up here big in this round, pre-firing some common angles in towards the site, but he's going to get aggressive. There is a player in the vault to his left. Is he aware? He hears the shots. He needs to go for this kill. Will he hit the shots? He will eventually, and the play is down, leaving it all up to Tex. Will he be able to clutch this one out? Mango's attempting the plant. Tex can't quite find him. He hears him, but he doesn't quite see him, and now it's a post-plant scenario. It's a 1-on-2. He has 40 seconds to clear them out and defuse the bomb. Both players from TBD critically low. One shot should be enough to kill them both. Question is, can he find these picks? No, he can't. And TBD will take their first attack.
Man, I can't believe that. It was a 4 versus 2 in favor of Fnatic, and then it really came off the back of Mangoes. There's no better way to describe it. Yeeting through Study towards the top of the main stairs, catching aces off guard. And that just gave TBD the control they needed. It was pretty much just after I finished saying that if TBD couldn't take the Study main stairs control, then a lot of their time burn was for nothing. So that move from Mangoes really changed the round. So nice for TBD. They've got the lead now, 4-3, and maybe their attack phase is not going to be as much of a struggle as we expected.
It's definitely up to TBD to continually evolve these attacks, though. As we know, once Fnatic start to read into them, that's where they will look their strongest. At least Fnatic will look at their strongest. So provided TBD can continue to mix things up, keep things fresh on this map, they are well and truly in with a chance. Once again though, Fnatic will stick the Wamai. Saw it play last round, but unfortunately Magnet was actually the entry death there for Fnatic. So hopefully he can have a bit more of an impact this round, because of course his gadget does refresh over time. So the longer you're in the map, the more of those gadgets you can deploy.
Yep, definitely like a Legion. You want to try and keep that player, alive for majority of the round, so you can get full use out of that utility. We'll see whether Magnet can get that opportunity this time. One thing that is standing out to me hugely right now is the amount of soft breach that's going to be required by TBD that they just simply don't really have. Thankfully, the Nomad has breach charges. But other than that, they've just got Ashe and Zofia. Let's count this out. They have Castle Barricades to deal with. They have Goyo Shields to deal with. That is 6 items already. They have a shield from Magnet. And then on top of that, they have to deal with ADSs and Magnets from Magnet on the Wamai. So, I mean, that's a lot of utility that they have to deal with. They don't have as much, to counter. Could really come back to bite them in the mid-late round if they don't deal with it effectively.
Aggressive peaks from Tex early in this round. Doesn't quite net him a kill. He's under the pump a little bit, running past that bridge. That was a little bit risky, but he gets away with it. Mango's investing a lot of utility, at least 2 Habana pellets on that Study wall to try and flush out Magnet and Tex, who are playing in those key positions. Critical part of the round here, Raven. If TBD can get these early picks, they should set themselves up really nicely. But Fnatic, on the contrary, if they get these picks, the defense should be pretty easy from there.
Yeah, and it's pretty reminiscent to how TBD held this before, and it's really important that if you design a strategy, you know how to counter it. So the fact that this is kind of similar to how they were holding it, I think really helps TBD and how they push it. There's so much dedicated to this side, and like you said, if they can come out on top of these gunfights, which they really are at the moment, still have the man advantage, looking pretty good for them.
It's looking really good now. It's a 4-on-1, and Aces is left to try and clutch it up. But there we go, he's taken out as well at 90. Very good round there for TBD. 2 rounds in a row, in fact. Epsi.style definitely coming into this match here on Villa. And TBD now with a pretty decent lead.
Yeah, 5-3, and they're in their attack half now. I mean, we're pretty critical about how they've been playing on some of their defenses, but these attacks have been looking really good. They're really coming at the aggression. Speaking of things I was critical of, was their lack of, raising the bar of aggression to Fnatic, and I feel like that's finally happening with their attacks. They're winning their gunfights. Now I'm a bit worried for Fnatic. They're looking like they're really struggling to, deal with this.
Interesting decision there from TBD, bringing Jackal over IQ. I mean, obviously TBD is seeing things differently to how we have, but it doesn't necessarily feel like Fnatic are playing in unknown positions or hard to drone positions particularly. It really has seemed to be focused all around that soft breach utility versus shields versus other gadgets placed by the defenders around the map. So an interesting decision there. Would have maybe liked to see TBD bring some more soft destruction, but who knows? We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I have to see what they do. And I mean, if you think about it, the first time they defended this bomb site, it should have really been theirs. It just came onto that, that aggression from Mangoes on the Havana onto the top of the main stairs. So as long as they can stay, on top of that kind of stuff, that aggression that opens the round up for TBD, they should be sitting in a better position. Looks like TBD have changed their push as well.
Drones coming out here from TBD as they try and locate where these Fnatic defenders are placed around the map. Tex is one of these roamers over towards the bedroom door. Doesn't quite hit the drone. Nor does he hit it on the second occasion. A little bit frustrated that his tracking wasn't quite good enough there. Goes across his screen again and he misses it. Poor Tex. He'll be a little bit annoyed at that. Sounds like the wall might be getting opened as well, so he needs to be mindful of these angles that are being created in towards his location.
Yeah, good utility coming out again into this aggressive position. Minute burned off. They're only just entering Master, so I like the contesting. It just depends on who ends up getting these picks or whether, Fnatic pull away. Tex will finally get the opening pick, though, onto Epsi.style, who is actually fragging out quite heavily for his team on this map. So that will definitely help them.
Tex not afraid to play such an aggressive position. Could wide peek the door if Mangoes and Joker don't quite see him do it. Won't be the case just yet, and Mangoes will shut him down. So it's a 4-4. Bit of a round reset, it feels like at the moment, but there is a player towards Astro. Those magnets are creating issues, though. That's 2 flashes wasted, 3 flashes wasted. This is incredible stuff to witness. Wamai having such a massive impact. Mangoes will get aces. This player still inside of Astro surely will be flushed out, and is. Mangoes going absolutely off in this round, and now it's a 2-on-4.
Aggressive position here from Lusty as well, just on the other side of this doorway. Guy are going to drone it out, and is he going to push straight past? He is. He's not going to get the shots. Lusty down, and that's it, actually, guys. TBD close that out, and most importantly, prevent Fnatic from getting a full map win of points. That is TBD on match point now, securing themselves at least 1 point.
I think in terms of talking about the context of standings, it's important to note that Fnatic did get a better round difference against TBD by beating them 7-0 on map number 1. So that's pretty critical in this matchup. Fnatic technically come out on top, even if TBD do manage to win this next round and win the map.
Yeah, so if they end on even points at the end of the season, Fnatic will technically finish in front due to now having the head-to-head. That was always going to be tough because basically TBD would have had to 7-0 them on this map. And quite clearly that did not happen. So yeah, critical for Fnatic, considering that if TBD do take the map win, which it's looking potentially possible right now, they're going to be on equal points still.
As many bombs as they can.
Fnatic are heading to the kitchen site. I accidentally put it in as living in library. We haven't seen that played in ANZ, I don't think, at all really this season. Gets a bit of play some of the other regions, but ANZ not too keen to touch it. Actually, some setup going on over that side of the map, so that's pretty interesting to see. But Fnatic, they are definitely over towards dining and kitchen, and it is the first time they are playing it tonight. So it's a little bit tricky to give a form guide going into this round. But I do think Fnatic will give it their all, try and at least draw out the map. They don't really want to drop 3 points here.
Attackers are heading out.
No, definitely not, because it will have a big effect on the standings. Like we said, it means that they will be at least even points with TBD, but they're giving an opening to other teams like Elevate and to a lesser extent Wildcard that are within, you know, one map win and still to play. So, of course, tomorrow, Fnatic actually play Elevate. And that series could really determine a lot more about the final positioning, because if Elevate gets 6 points, for example, they'll be ahead of both Fnatic and TBD. So really, yeah, the points coming out of tonight are really critical for setting up the rest of the week.
Such a great part of Super Week. All these matches on paper are quite close. This matchup, no exception. If you are just joining, Fnatic actually won the very first map between these two tonight, 7-0. But TBD, they're currently on a 3-round streak, bringing it back here after an even half and could well get 3 points back. This round, quite close so far. All 10 members still on the board.
TBD really have come into their own on their attack half. In fact, flawless in terms of their attacks at the moment. They haven't lost an attack round. Lusty looming quite dangerously there down in the living room library area. Not sure whether he's been identified at all by TBD or not. And if not, could be devastating mid to late round. Could even hold down red stairs if he moves onto that angle. Importantly though, TBD do have some vertical control. Not that they have an operator to really take advantage of that. They are going to have to use their soft breach in order to get some holes open.
Tex using the first of Fnatic's C4s, doesn't net himself a kill. Jack Daddy though, he nets himself a kill with the pistol nonetheless on to Mentalist. That leaves only one C4 now on the board for Fnatic. Mangoes critically has the diffuser outside of what appears to be Laundry. I'll have to wait and see how he approaches in towards a bomb site potentially. Still though, it's a bit of a calm before the storm. Either team trying to outfox the other, trying to gain that positional advantage for the late round.
A breach charge is used on the floor to open it up. No C4 is used to capitalize it. I mean, Mentalist was fragged before I believe he used his C4. Lastly, still with one in the pocket. Texas used his. Mangoes gets another. Mangoes is absolutely popping off for TBD, ensuring his attacks go well, and it means they've got a 2-man advantage coming into the final 30 seconds here. Guys, this could be the map for TBD.
Oh, that's an awkward engagement for Mangoes. He's gotten 13 kills so far. Can he get his 14th here onto Aces? No, he can't. Aces goes absolutely massive. That's his double kill for the round, and he's bringing this one back for Fnatic. He has Tex alongside for support. 3 members of TBD trying to hunt them down. This could be pretty dicey for TBD. They need to get in towards the side and try and find these picks. Aces gets one more as Tex gets one as well. And there we go. He will eventually be refragged, but does Epsi.style have the time? I think Aces is sitting outside. He knows exactly where he is, and he pre-fires the angle. Way. There's no way he managed to win that gunfight. There's no way that TBD managed to win that map. What a performance from them. 4 attack rounds straight in the second half, and what a play by Epsi.style.
Yeah, I mean, there's not too much Aces could have done there. He was low HP. He just had to get out of the way. Maybe he could have even hit the deck because it came down to milliseconds. But at the end, TBD just too strong in their attacks. In fact, they didn't even lose an attack. Fnatic not winning any of their defenses on Villa. Massive efforts from Mangoes and Epsi.style. And that is it. 2 map win for each of these teams tonight.
Yeah, as we mentioned though, critically, Fnatic do go out of this with the round advantage because they won that first map 7-0. So they could come back to bite TBD, but I think the fact that they're able to recuperate, have such a strong second map was really quite interesting. As you mentioned, 4 flawless attacks. That's a really good performance, particularly considering it was Villa as well.
Yeah, and considering the struggles we saw from them on Coastline, I really was doubting how they would go with Villa. I thought Fnatic would counter them pretty well and that they would struggle to adapt. And I mean, for a lot of the defense half for TBD, that was kind of the case. To be honest, I felt like they were quite fortunate to even get 3 rounds out of their defense. But then it came attack, and they just really stepped up the aggression. And it was Fnatic that were really struggling to adapt to that. That last round was their best look on defense for Fnatic. So they were pretty unlucky not to get it, to be honest. But at the end of the day, TBD just, yeah, too strong on attack.
Yeah, and it definitely felt like Fnatic were trying to mix it up quite a bit, bringing in some interesting operator picks, such as Carly, for example. But it just didn't quite seem to click, and TBD maybe even out-aggressed Fnatic in the end. And you were talking about this earlier. Aggression beats out aggression, and it seemed to be working in favor of TBD there.
Yeah, it did. Like their attacks just were so hard for Fnatic to deal with. As soon as they saw an opening, it wasn't even just one person, it was multiple people pushing through, securing frags, and even refragging. And it just constantly caught Fnatic on the back foot. And whether it was just the shock of that, or, I mean, it's been a somewhat long night, second map, maybe Fnatic started to feel a bit of fatigue. Probably not, because they're pretty, battle-hardened players. But regardless, it just was something that Fnatic just never got back on top of.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note that this aggression that we're talking about isn't sort of superficial. We're not just making it up. There's stats to back it up. From what I tracked, there was one round out of the 10, so 10% of the rounds, where the plant actually went down. All the others were just frag outs, and most of those being just fierce contests in the last sort of minute, half a minute to go. So again, the aggression was super strong. Both teams trying to bring it to the table, and TBD did come out on top in the end.
Yeah, they did. And I just wonder if we saw more of their attacks on Coastline, whether maybe they would have had more of a chance to bring it back. But the fact that Fnatic went so hard on their attack phase in Coastline and getting 6-0 in that first half, maybe that just shot the mindset of TBD. Never really gave him a shot to get in. If tables had flipped, maybe it actually really would have gone very differently.
Yeah, and something we were mentioning quite a bit on these attacks was the utility clearing, because both teams on the defense were bringing a lot of utility to clear, such as magnets from a Wamai or Go-Go shields. The list is really endless. I guess, how do you think both teams sort of did in clearing out that utility? I mean, TBD on map number 2 did a really good job, Villa being especially heavy with utility, but across the board, how do you think each team really went trying to execute that?
They never seemed like they had massive issues with it. There was one round there where I was really concerned for TBD, but just through pure aggression, they got by it. I mean, when Mango's got that pick onto, I think it was Ace's top of main stairs on that attack round where it looked like Fnatic had it. It was a 4-2 man advantage to Fnatic. It's not like they cleared utility. Mango's literally just legged it to main stairs, got that pick, legged it around into Billiards and Bar, and they just got their frags. So I feel like that was kind of the solution a lot of the time when they were struggling to clear utility. They end up just saying, okay, guys, let's just push. Let's play aggressive. Let's get some frags.
Well, now that we've seen Aces, I guess, play 2 maps now back in this roster, we saw him quite strong in map number 1, albeit him falling off the roof for dropping that diffuser that one round. And then in the very last round there, Villa so close to having a massive impact, only just falling short. Early impressions on how he's fitting into this team. What are your thoughts?
Looked fine, to be honest. I'm not sure exactly what they were lacking on Villa, and that might be something we can ask Fnatic when we do the interview. Potentially that extra aggression, but to be honest, I feel like Aces held his weight. Even in that last round, like they were 5-2 man disadvantage or something at some stage, and he got 3 shotgun kills. Like the man can hold his own in that role. So whether that works for Fnatic long term, up to them to say, but I'd say at face value, it looks all right.
Well, luckily for us, we have Magnet from Fnatic waiting on the line. Let's bring him up. G'day, Magnet. Not a bad result tonight overall. Of course, you did, I guess, get the round advantage in the end. But map number 2, not quite going your way. What are your initial thoughts sort of coming out of Villa?
The clash definitely threw us off a bit in the sort of start of Villa. And then eventually we just sort of got around it. But definitely on defense, we sort of over-aggressed sometimes, and then they would just find just one small gap. As you said before, instead of clearing utility, just trying to find a solo play to open up the round, and they did that multiple times. So that's pretty much why our defender's side on Villa was so weak.
Yeah, I actually want to dig a little bit more into the counter of Clash. You guys started bringing Kali, and you're the first team in ANZ that's done so. Is that something you've actually practiced a lot of, or was that more of like a wing it decision?
That was not something we've practiced in scrims. So Tex has been playing it in ranked quite a bit. He's like, if I'm feeling it, I might play Kali. But then as soon as I started bringing the Clash, I'm like, boys, can Kali's gun actually take Clash off her shield like a stun? And they're like, yeah, she can. So we just brought her for that, and actually ended up doing pretty well. So yeah, wasn't planned. Yeah, we were kind of surprised as well, because it's obviously something we've not really seen a lot of, and the counter was great. I want to move to Coastline because that was a strong map for you guys. Was there something in particular about that map that really enabled you guys to just, quite frankly, dominate TBD? Not really. Look, we didn't counter-strat them or anything. We were just, having fun. Of course, we don't have like anything to lose, as we always sort of say. But we were just in our groove, and we were vibing. We say that a lot on the team, right? We were vibing, so we're just having a lot of fun. So that's what ended up really giving us extra confidence in every single round.
Awesome. Well, you guys of course have Elevate for your next matchup. What are your thoughts heading into that one? It should be a close game.
No real thoughts at the moment. We'll just, take it as it goes. Just another game. So hopefully we can do well in that game as well.
All right. Well, we'll leave it at that. Magnet, we appreciate your time and all the best in your next match.
Thanks very much, boys.
It was really interesting, I think, talking about and really digging into that clash, whether or not they have or have not played Carly in scrims, to just have the confidence to sort of bring her out was quite interesting. Tex, full credit to him. For an operator that he hasn't played in scrims, allegedly, he actually played pretty decently, and TBD did have some issues when that Carly was brought out.
Yeah, he definitely made it work. It's like we were saying in the moment, there was that one main round in Aviator Games where that clash was just a total pain for Fnatic, and they struggled to deal with it. But once they brought the Kali, it never really had a factor. And yeah, full credit to Tex. He made that work, considering it had no official or competitive practice outside of ranked. And also full credit to Fnatic to, enable that kind of flexibility and that kind of play style to just try things when they need to. It really paid off.
Yeah, what were your thoughts, I guess, in regards to Magnet's response on Coastline? Because he mentioned he didn't really do any counter-stratting. I feel like quite a few teams don't really go down the counter-strat route as heavy in the current meta. How as a team do you then prepare? Is it just looking internally and trying to perfect exactly what you're doing? Because Fnatic looked like a pretty well-oiled machine there on Coastline.
Yeah, I'd say it just comes down to working on your own play style. He said that they wanted to play with fun and just kind of loose, and you could see that was working well for them. I think a lot of it just came down to they read TBD really well, and because they were playing, that loose fun play style, things like aces falling off the roof probably had no effect. Honestly, if anything, if they really were just having a lot of fun, stuff like that can probably help your mindset. They would have had a massive giggle, thought it was hilarious, and that just gets you, in a positive frame of mind.
Positive frame of mind is always really important. It's obviously something that can be brushed over pretty easily, but I feel like just like all other sports, mindset is really key, and the moment it starts to slip away, then it can be quite challenging. I guess that sort of leads into TBD a little bit, because their mindset after map number 1 probably wasn't very positive. However, they were able to reel it back and had a really strong second half on that Villa map.
Yeah, Villa and Coastline, completely different maps in terms of their performance. Their defense was still, a bit iffy on Villa, but at the end of the day, their attacks were just insane. And it was like Magnet said, and something I was saying post-match as well, instead of clearing the utility and struggling with that, they kind of just played to their strength. They just went aggressive, found the picks, and more often than not, that was just working, and Fnatic struggled with that. So, I mean, hats off to them to realize that was the key, and they ended up executing it really well.
Yeah, I think probably the best example of that would have been Epsi.style, because in that second half of Villa, that's when he seemed to have a really big impact. Mangoes as well, who's a really strong fragger in his own right, played quite strong there in the second half as well. So it felt like once those players had their confidence, they were feeling quite activated, if that's the way you want to put it. That really lifted the rest of the team and allowed them to bring that aggression to the aggression, which we've mentioned a couple of times.
Yeah, and Epsi.style in particular really was kind of shut out on Coastline, and then even Villa defenses. Like you said, he didn't really play much of a role until the attack phase. They were really good with their flank watch, Fnatic, and it just meant that the usual thing that he can sometimes get away with just didn't happen.
Well, guess what? Epsi.style is on the line, so let's bring him up and say hello. Epsi.style, good to see you, mate. I'm not going to make you relive the pain of map number 1. Let's brush past that. Map number 2, Villa, 4 attacks straight. Got to feel pretty good.
Just to quickly recap though, going to Coastline, like you guys were saying, they really did their homework on us, so they really shut all of us out every round. So at the end of that game, I basically said to everyone, stop being a bitch, to put it lightly, and start playing a bit more aggressive, because everyone was too scared and giving a bit too much respect.
Yeah, you could definitely see that it just wasn't your usual comfort zone at all. I do want to talk more about Coastline. I mean, it went through the veto. It's historically been pretty good for Fnatic. Not too bad for you guys. Was there a certain plan coming into that map that just never really got off the ground?
It was just more, we felt pretty confident and pretty comfortable on that map, and we just weren't ready for the amount of counter strat that Fnatic brought to us at the end of the day. That's basically what it was. Like the Hibana and us going hooker 3 or 4 times in a row, that just, yeah, weren't really thinking too strategically about it. So, oh well,
Yep.
it happened.
Yep. And then on Villa, your attacks, it really looked like you guys kind of flipped a switch between the first map and even the first half of Villa. Your attacks, you were playing really aggressively and with a lot of confidence. Was there anything that consciously happened in that switch, or can you give us more insight on that?
Yeah, so even on the defense, we were trying to play a bit more aggressive than the following map, but they were, as you can see, Fnatic are very, very good at the whole flank watch and watching the right angles at the right time and whatnot. So we got a few good picks, but they were always catching us on like either trying to refrag or rotate back to site, which cost us a lot of defense rounds. And I personally was trying to always have some form of impact lurking, but I kept getting shut out. Then on attack, we're just like, nah, let's just take these gunfights, and we won.
Well, of course, you guys have Elevate in the final play day. Any sort of thoughts heading into that one? It should be a pretty close contest.
Hopefully the same result, but 2 W's, not 1. And not getting 07th. That's definitely one of them.
It's a good goal.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that then. Epsi.style, we appreciate your time as always, and good luck in your final play day.
Thank you.